In your Monday morning history lesson.
She was making fun of me for my age before we came back from the break.
No, I was
I'm
not.
just saying.
He was throwing it back to 1999.
Yeah, we're throwing it way back right now.
Yeah, we are. To 1897. On this day in history, in 1897, the Alaska Commercial Company steamer Alice arrived at St. Michael, carrying the first shipment of Klondike gold.
And as author Laurel Downeybill tells us in this week's Storytime with Aunt Phil, it did not take long for that Russian village at the mouth of the Yukon River to turn into a bustling frontier town.
When that steamer arrived, 25 miners from Dawson were on board, along with about $500,000 of gold dust. That would be about $13 million in today's money.
Then 2 days later, another ship arrives, this one with about $175,000 worth of gold, and Laurel news would spread like wildfire. What would this mean for St. Michael's?
Well, founded by the Russians to trade with the Yupik people in 1833, St. Michael became the hub of activity for miners with gold dancing before their eyes, heading to and from the rich fields of the Klondike. And headlines from newspapers across the continental United States helped fuel what became known as the Klondike Gold Rush. Soon, about 10,000 people were calling St. Michael home. And then the Yukon River, which flows about 2,600 miles through the region, became part of what was known as the all-water route, where stampeders would get on big steamships in Seattle, sail on up to St. Michael, and then transfer onto smaller river steamers to go down the Yukon.
So it sounds like the shipping industry at the time was also striking it rich.
Boy, it didn't take long for demand for those steamers to skyrocket. Ships that were on other routes were diverted north. Ships that were not in service were immediately fixed up and put back in the water. And boats that were built for 140 people actually were retrofitted to carry 500. The Northern Commercial and other companies then started building the ships right there in St. Michael. They would build barges, steamers, and tugs.
So how long would it take to go from St. Michael to the Klondike?
Well, Alaska Commercial Company advertised the trip was about 4 weeks, but stampeders soon found that was an overly optimistic time period. Not only did the prices for the trip for one way go from $150 to $2,000, which in today's money would be about $60,000, storms and the difficulties navigating the Yukon would turn that into a 2-month or more ordeal. In fact, miners that started out in the winter of 1897 got stuck in the river ice for many months, and of the 1,800 that started out on that trip from St. Michael, only 43 made it to Dawson, and of those, 35 had to turn back because they didn't have enough supplies.
How big is St. Michael today?
Well, it's gone back to its former small size. It has about 400 people living there now.
Amazing the percentage of people that weren't able to
actually make it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Had to be tough.
Mm-hmm. Well, next week in Storytime with Aunt Phil, the story of Alaska's first governor, what led him to become Alaska's first and shortest serving governor in our state history.